Hey, have you lost hope in yourself? Have you lost hope in your loved one? Has their addiction just got completely out of hand and you're worried that they're going to die? This episode is for you. We have a dear friend of ours on, Charmaine. We've known him for the better part of 5 years now. Charmaine had an upbringing. The cards were stacked against him. If you saw and heard how he was raised and the environment that he was in, you would have never thought that he would be able to have 5 years sober. He has overcome so much. He's overcome many obstacles, and he is actually an employee with us at Rock Recovery Center. He's one of the kindest men that we have ever met, and we had to get him on the show. I know you're going to love this. Enjoy the show. Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I'm your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, we've got Benjamin B.
What's happening, everyone?
We have a good friend of ours, Charmaine. Yes. Charmaine, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Finally ready to get this over with. Been a long time.
All right. First things first. Thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use. And thank you for watching on YouTube. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us. info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. Right, friends?
Yes, sir.
That's right.
What's up, Charmaine?
Hey, man. How's it going, Tom?
Good.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen. So I want to pick right up, man. Just dive right on into this thing, man. I'm a little nervous, so that's the best way for me to do it.
All right. Well,
that's okay.
Hang on a second. Hang on.
Right.
Couple ground rules. Number one, make sure you talk into the mic. Okay.
Got you.
Second thing, I did want to mention real quick, Ben, we got a new thing, I suppose, on the website that people can go to. So if you go to realrecoverytalk.com/help, there's like a web form submission in there that you could fill out. It's just your name, your email address, your phone number, and a little block that says, it says, what's your situation? Basically what that's designed for are, because right now people could schedule like consultation calls with us, but I feel like there's a lot of levels there. A lot of clicking around. You have to go to the website, then you have to click this, and you got to sign up here and and then you have to schedule your call. There's a lot of barriers there. So if you want us to reach out to you, just go to realrecoverytalk.com/help, fill out that form, and then we'll reach out to you, one of us. And I think it makes it a lot easier. And then honestly, it's kind of easier for us too, because we can reach out when we're free and we can actually have some time. And this is for anybody. It doesn't matter your situation. If you're a family member, loved one, if you're in addiction right now, or you're in recovery and you just, maybe you have a question or something, just another added resource. So
it streamlined it. And I did a practice run this morning, asked me what I need help with. I said, Tom is grumpy. He's an alcoholic. And I got a response right away.
Yeah, I called him. I called Ben and said, I heard you need help with my grumpiness. So, Charmaine, here we are. Yes, this has been a long time coming. I like your new sneakers. You got some Air Maxes.
Yes.
You are a hard man to get a hold of to schedule this up, dude.
Yes, man. A lot of it was just like nervousness,
So let's just dive right in. Tell us, take us back, and then, I may interject, but you have a very interesting story.
Should we say how we know him though, real quick?
Go ahead.
You want to tell how you know us?
I was a client here, at Rock Recovery. I was a client here back in 2018, man. So my journey began in 2017 with trying to get sober, and first, I like to say, man, I was so nervous from doing this, man, but I've been thinking about it over and over, sometimes at night, and I say, man, what a disservice it'll be for me not to share my experience, strength, and hope with everybody, man, especially for the addict and the alcoholic, man, just still out there suffering, and so yeah, man, I started my journey in 2017, man. I came down here for treatment. I would like to say, I went to treatment and everything was good, man. But that's just not a part of my story. And backing up a little bit, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, as you can hear from my accent. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and my mom did the best she could with what she had, man. I grew up in government housing, and
Hey, everybody. This episode is brought to you by Soberlink. We decided to partner with Soberlink because it is a tool that we believe in. Now, here's a couple of things about Soberlink. Number one, it's not designed to catch you in a relapse. It's designed as an accountability tool. Now, there's a bunch of cool features with Soberlink that I think need to be discussed. Number one, it is tamper-proof. You can't mess with this thing. You can't break it. You can't fudge the results in any sort of way. It also has built-in facial recognition, so you can't just pass it off to your buddy and say, hey, will you blow in this thing for me? It has scheduled tests, so you could set it up. I want to be tested at 7 a.m., noon, and right before dinner. You could set it up to where your results get sent to an accountability partner. That could be your therapist. That could be one of your sober supports. You obviously will have influence on where the results are sent to. Again, Soberlink doesn't take the place of Alcoholics Anonymous. It doesn't take the place of addiction treatment, but it's an added tool, right? We oftentimes talk about tools in our toolbox when we want to stay sober, and Soberlink is a great resource. And I've seen people utilize it, and just knowing that it is there, it's, hey, I got to blow in this thing. It can help you in your sobriety journey. So we're super glad that we've gotten to get involved with Soberlink and have them now as a sponsor. And because they are so generous, they wanted to offer you a discount. And you can go to soberlink.com/RRT to receive 50% off of your device.
And I always and it's no excuse, for anything. That was the advantage to me because I seen what drugs did. I seen what alcohol did to people, man. It was all over my community. It was in my family. So I never want to be that guy that say, oh, man, I grew up with one parent, one mom. I grew up in the projects. No, that's the way I am. That's why I did what I did. No, man, that's not my story, man, because I got classmates and people that grew up with me, man. They took a whole total different route, man. They finished school, they graduated, they went off to college, and they made some of their life, man. It was my decision, man. I went the other way, man. I was more, what caught my ass was the fast money, the drugs, the gangs, stuff like that. So that's the route I chose, man. I chose that route, at a very young age, 14, 15 years old, man. I chose that life of running with the gangs and hanging up all night and in the streets and stuff like that, and we all know, man, what comes along with that lifestyle, man, so I was always in trouble with the law, at a very young age, in and out of juvenile institutions and stuff like that. And I remember turning 17 and I was getting out of this juvenile facility. They had me there since I was 17. And I remember my aunt bringing me back home and she said, Charmaine, you're 18 now. What you going to do with your life? For this day forward, whatever decision you make, it's going to be permanent. It's no more kiddie jail. There's no more juvenile detention center. You're going to real jail. And I often think about that conversation, man. I said, man, I wish I can rewind the hand of time, man, and took my auntie advice, and went the other route. But I did, man. So I'm 18 years old now, man, and I'm doing the same thing, man. Now there's no school anymore. I dropped out of school. I was kicked out of school. And so I'm 18 years old, man, and I'm ripping and running with gangs, man. And then what no one knows behind the scene, man, I'm sniffing cocaine, man. I got an addiction problem. I wouldn't say it was an addiction problem at that time, but I was sniffing coke, man, And that was my little secret. Just me and a couple of my buddies, we'll get together late night, man, and we'll sniff coke. And we'll stay up all night ripping and running the streets, man. And the next day, man, I could snap out of it. I might won't even get high the next day. Or the next 2-3 days, man. But you know what, man? I always remembered that feeling, man. And I can remember saying to myself, man, I wish I can feel like this all the time, man. And just like it says in our literature, man, my disease had progressed, man. It's a progressive illness, man. And by the time I was in my 20s, man, I was sniffing coke like every day, man. And then like the consequences started coming around, right? I'm in my 20s now. Now the consequences coming around, like I'm catching drug charges and I'm driving under the influence of drugs and stuff like that. So I want to get more to the solution. So I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit, and I meet this girl. I'm working this like little warehouse job back in Memphis, Tennessee, and I meet this girl, country girl. She from Mississippi, and we get together and we have kids, man. Later on, this same girl, she's soon to be my wife, man. I stayed with her for like 18 years, let me back up, like 15 years, man. We got married, we had 3 kids. But all along this her, man, my addiction was getting worse and worse and worse, man. And then it finally came to the point, man. She said, you know what, I can't do this anymore, man. And thank God, man, that at least she did, man. She left her health insurance card in the bathroom where I always sniff my dope, Not to mention that my drug of choice had got worse, man. Now it was heroin, And she left for the health card in the bathroom, right up under the dollar bill where I had heroin, where I used to sit in the bathroom and sniff in the ladder and said, go get yourself some help. At this time, I'm 36 years old. I'm around like 36. I don't have a job. I don't have a driver's license. I got 3 kids, and I got a heroin addict, a heroin habit. All right. So I called this number, man. Help. 1-800-HELP, and this treatment center pop up. And then that started my journey down here to South Florida, man. I flew out here, went to this treatment center. It was this 2017. I go to this treatment center, man, in like 2 weeks. I get out of detox. I'm out of detox, and I'm in the REDS program, and I'm feeling a little better, and I'm looking a little better, man. And I called my wife, and she said, come home, And against everything that my therapist was trying to tell me, the text was trying to tell me, they were saying, no, don't do it, Charmaine. You're doing so good. Give yourself a chance. But I underestimated my disease, man. I thought I just need to get my wife back, man. I got it from her. I know I went too far. I took it too far. I crossed the line, man. Just need to get my wife back, give me a good job, go home and take care of my kids, man. I underestimated, man, what I was up against, man. And little to say, man, I am at that treatment center, and I was back within 30 days, man. And I was worse than I was when I arrived there the first time, And I come down here to treatment, man, and I'm sitting and I can still remember sitting in the detox, man. And I'm 36, 37 years old, and I have absolutely nothing, man. And I remember asking myself, wow, man, how did I get here, man? How did I get so far gone, man? Like I said, I grew up. I seen what drugs did to people, man, And I said, how did I allow myself to get so far gone, man? And man, I would like to say, man, I sat here, man, and facing all of that, man, facing my wife leaving me, not having anything to my name, I'm withdrawing off heroin. You would think that'll be enough, man, for me to say, okay, man, I'm done, But there wasn't a deal, man. More than ever, man, I can remember sitting there, man, and I'm faced with all those problems, man. And there's nothing that I wanted more, man, than to get high, And I relapsed, man, and that was my thing, man. And that was my little thing for like the next year or two, man. And then like I landed in rock recovery. And I can still remember that phone call. The treatment center that I'm in said, Charmaine, we can't do anything with you. You've been here 2 or 3 times. We'll get you a flight back to wherever you want to go. You want to go back to Memphis? I said, no, I don't have anything to go to. It said, well, we can send you to another treatment center. You want to do that? I said, yes, ma'am. Send me to another treatment center. And they called Rock Recovery. And I can still remember the lady doing my intake of my pre-admission online, man, over the phone. And I'm lying to her, man. She's asking me, when the last time you got high? And I'm telling her, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks. And I'm lying, man. I had just got high that night, man. I still can't get honest. This lady's trying to help me, man. And I can't get honest, man. I can't get honest with her. I'm damn sure can't get honest with myself, man. You know? And I come to Rock Recovery, man, and I said, you know what, man, I'm gonna give myself a chance, man, because this was the last house on the block, man. I had burnt everything else down. I didn't have anything. The divorce was in rotation, man. The divorce was on the way. The wife was gone. The kids was gone. Like, everything was gone. I said, man, you know what? I might as well try to just start over here in South Florida. And I did good, man, for a while, man. For almost a year, man. And just like the book said, man, like suddenly, man, the thought came, maybe I can get away with it again, man. And that's the insanity of it, man. Like, no matter, like, it's right here in my face, man. My track record proves that, man. Like, every time that I can no longer, like, use drugs successfully, man. And then this thought comes in my head that I can, man, and I believe it, man. And I go out and I go back out, man. So fast forward, man, to 2020, man. I'm sitting in this hotel room and I'm kicked out of my sober living, man. And it wasn't like I had never been in this spot before, man. And it wasn't like, oh, man, I'm never doing this again. It was more like, man, I've been doing this for a very long time, man. And like, man, I know I'm going to do it again, man. And I think, man, for the first time, man, I finally took a sincere step one, man. Because it wasn't, I'm never doing this again. It was, man, I'm definitely going to do this again, And I took my step one, man, in that room, man. And I that's when I surrendered, man. That was May of 2020, man. And I remember that lady saying, man, the lady who owned the sober living I was staying at, she said, if you can make it back to this sober living sober, I'm going to give you 4 days. If you can make it back sober and take a UA and pass it, I give you another chance, man, And I did that, man. And it was I didn't do that on my own, man. Now that I'm sober, now looking back at it, it definitely was a power greater than myself, man, in effect, man, that was already working in my life, man, And I made it back to this sober living sober, man, and I remember the date, man, I made it back there. It was a couple of days after, like, Mother's Day. It was like my sober days, May the 16th, 2020, man. And that's the day I surrendered, Tom. And I surrendered that day, man. I surrendered to the program, man. I remember calling my sponsor and saying, man, I'm ready, man. I'm ready, man. I'm ready to drill step one, man. And I was totally convinced. No one had to convince me. And, no one had to convince me. I didn't have to be convinced at all, man. My track record, I lived it. I did it, man. And I got in the middle, man. I got a sponsor. I got a home group on Thursday nights at the Club Oasis, man. And I just clinged on to those guys, man, that had been sober and that was staying sober. I clinged on to them, man. And I would go to my meetings, man, and I would show back up in my sober living, man. And I got me a little job and I kept it really simple, man. And I dove right in the middle and I'd go out to eat lunch with them and I started meeting people in the fellowship, and stuff, and started hanging out at Club Oasis and stuff. And then, man, like, things started to change for me, man. I spent 2.5 years, almost 3 years in this sober living, man. But in that time, I stayed sober. I obtained a driver's license. I got full time at my job. I got a vehicle. And then I was finally able to move out, man, and get me an apartment with my buddy, you know. And then I got a second job, man. I got the opportunity to come work here at Rock Recovery, man. And I never thought in a million years, man, that I'd be sitting here today, man, you know, because I was at the bottom of the barrel, man. You know, I was the guy who couldn't stay sober, man. Who family, everybody has said, man, you know what, man, this guy would just wash their hands with me, man, you know. And that's the good thing about recovery, man, and sobriety, man. I met some really good people here, man, that seen the best in me and that was willing to give me an opportunity, man, you know. And every day, sometimes, man, I have to pinch myself and just say, wow, man. Like the cliche stuff they say up in the rooms, man, a life beyond your wildest dreams, man. Sometimes I'm just driving, man, and I say, wow, man, I came a long way from South Memphis, man. You know, a long way from hanging in front of the corner stores, man, you know. And today, man, I can show up for those 3 kids that I left behind in Memphis, man. I just went to see the last one graduate in Memphis, man. And I told him, I said, yeah, I'll be there for your graduation, you know. And I flew out. I had the funds and the money to be able, the means to able to fly to Memphis, man, and show up sober, man. And I can remember times in my active addiction, man, I couldn't even show up. And I was laying right there in the house with them, man, you know. And I said I wasn't going to get emotional, but, man, it's not like a sad emotion. It's a happy emotion. It's like I can't believe it, like, emotion, you know? It's a attitude of gratitude, man, you know? I'm just so grateful, man, because I know where I came from, man, you know, and where I'm at now. And I remember my buddy told me, man, and I was telling him about it, and he said, and man, I would lose it all, man, if I don't continue to do what I'm doing, man. It's a daily reprieve, man, you know? And I'm convinced of that, man. And just 5 years later, man, I still do the same thing. I still go to meetings. Still got a home group. I still work with addicts and alcoholics, man. Get up in the morning, I hit my knees now because this was what they taught me, man. This is what they taught me in AA, man. You know, I grew up in AA. I was 36-year-old, man. I had problems in like a 18-year-old mentality, man. You know, I didn't have an idea how to do anything, man. I grew up, man. Thank God for AA, man. Thank God for recovery. Thank God for treatment centers. I'm a advocate for treatment centers. You know, I go to meetings and like a lot of older guys, I didn't get sober. We didn't have treatment centers in my days. I got sober right here. And thank God for treatment centers, man. Because I needed a safe place, man. I needed somewhere to lay my head in a safe environment, man. And they had doctors there and staff there, man, to carry me, man, along the way, man. But I needed that, you know, because I was unable to do it on my own, man. Unmanageable is an understatement, man. You know, my life was in shambles, man. You know, and every day, man, you know, and they say, man, don't forget your last drink. Or some people say, oh man, you'll forget. You know, I never forget, man. I never forget, man. You know, so when I'm asked to come speak and give my message, man, you know, man, I feel like I'm obligated, man, like I gotta do it, man, you know. 'Cause the message, man, is always hope, man. You know, and that's the message that I carry today, man. That an addict, man, any addict can recover, man, and stop using drugs, man. Lose the desire to use, man, and find a better way to live, man. I'm living proof of that, man. Yeah,
We just sat silently. Dude, were you tearing up?
Yeah.
I was tearing up.
I swear I wasn't gonna cry, man. I said, don't cry. Whatever you do, don't cry.
I was already.
But it's not sad tears, man.
No, dude. I got so much respect for you, Charmaine. And the reason I was tearing up, man, is like, we've got to watch so much of your journey. You know, I remember when you came over. What, that was 2020?
I came to Rock in 2018.
2018. Yeah, I thought it was longer
Beach House
than that.
2017, and I
Yeah,
came to
I
Rock
thought it was
2018.
sooner than that. Yeah. But there's so much that you said there that's just so powerful, dude. And one of the things that, you know, I kind of would like to give some insight from like me watching you too, because that's a beautiful thing about this. You keep talking about how you got from where you were in South Memphis to where you're at today, but we get to witness the work that you did to get there. It's not like it was magic.
No.
And you kind of touched on that, but there was something that you said about the first step too, in that surrendering thing. My sponsor told me, he's like, step one doesn't tell you can't drink, it tells you that you will.
Mm-hmm.
And the same way that you were describing it is the same way that it kind of hit me. I was like, because I would tell myself, I'm not doing this again. And the day that I finally said, I am going to do this again. And like that was true powerlessness. I'm like, dude, I am screwed.
Yes.
And that's when I felt like buried, you know, but I had to like accept the fact I was completely defeated. I didn't believe I could stay clean and sober at that point.
Right.
But also too, man, going back to like some of the tangible stuff, when you talked about not having a driver's license, not having any of that stuff, some of the stuff I remember witnessing, man, I remember you got a job at Outback.
Yes, washing dishes.
I remember
in
that.
a dish pit.
Yeah.
For a long time.
16 months.
16 months.
16 months, man.
But I remember, dude, you know, we'd go by the house. Where's Charmaine? Charmaine's at work. You made it for 16 months to a job, dude, that I'll just call it what it is. How many of our clients today would go wash dishes?
Yeah.
Bro, but that's why you're at where you're at today. Like, I work for a moving company, lumping boxes around, dude, in back of trucks. Like, no one wants to lay that foundation nowadays. And it's doing that stuff. I don't even know if it's about humility, so to speak, but just showing up no matter what.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure. Did you love the job?
No, man. It was just like I knew I had to do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I was just like so happy to just like be able to put a uniform in and just like show up. I remember like getting my bike from Walmart. You think I just got a Mercedes, man. Like I was so happy. And come to mind, man, I'm not 18, 19. I'm like 36 at this point, you know? And I'm riding this bike up to Outback, man, and I'm in that dish pit, man. I stayed in that dish pit for 16 months, man. You know, and
how much were they paying you?
Oh, probably like, I think the lady was paying me like 11, maybe $12 an hour.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's the whole thing that I love about your story is the cards are heavily stacked against you since the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Since you were born, where you were born,
Mm-hmm.
where you were raised, the socioeconomic environment that you were in, gangs, drugs, you know, I didn't have that lifestyle growing up, you know, and so it's easy for me to take it for granted. You know, I didn't struggle with that.
Right.
And to see, and you know, we're in South Florida, you know, just north of us, we have Jupiter, which is one of the richest areas in the United States.
The world.
Just south of us, we have Boca Raton,
Mm-hmm.
one of the richest areas in the world. And we're sitting here, like we live here. You're from South Memphis, gangs, drugs, sex parties, you know, name it. And we're sitting here.
Yeah.
You know, and the cards were so stacked against you. Thank God, for your wife too.
Yeah.
you know?
So I had to actually make amends for her, man. I remember doing at my step 8, I went back to Memphis and I made amends to her, and I told her that, man. Like, I really appreciate it. You know, I don't have anything bad to say about her, man. Like, I told her I appreciate it, man. I really do. You know, and without her, man, I don't know if I would have been here. You know,
Yeah.
it's a miracle, Tom. It's exactly what it is, man. It's a miracle, man. You know, and that's what I tell people all the time, man. Like, you don't believe in a miracle, man. You're looking at one right here, man. And the great thing about this, I go to these meetings and I see a lot of them, man.
Yeah.
A lot of miracles, man, in the rooms of AA and just in recovery in general. You know?
Yeah. I remember we were sitting at staffing, and somehow, some way, we ended up needed to hire somebody. And I'm going to take credit for this. I was sitting, and I never really have really good suggestions when it comes to who we should and should not hire, because I'm not tied into the community anymore as much as, like, you know, Ben, you were or are, and, you know, Destiny and, you know, Keith and everybody. But for some reason, you know, you just popped into my mind.
Wow.
And I remember it was like we needed to hire a tech, and I'm like, what about Charmaine? It was me, right?
Yeah, it was. I
Really?
remember.
I want to make
Oh,
sure that I took credit for this, but it was deserved. I didn't want to steal the credit from anybody else. And I just remember everybody, there was kind of like a pause, and we're like, yeah, Charmaine, would he do it? Because at the time you were working full time at Publix.
Publix, I was.
Yeah, you
I
got,
was.
and Publix was it's
Publix
a good job, bro.
Yeah, it's a really good company. But man, I'm gonna tell you, when I got that phone call, I think it was Eric, the one who called me, and I missed the call, and I was in the shower, and I heard him on my voicemail. He said, "Man, give me a call back," and I did. And he said, "Hey, man, we Rock need a tech. We know you working full time with Publix, so you know, like." I was like, "Man, are you kidding me, man? Like, mind blowing, like, you know." And these and see, this the things that I'm talking about, man. You know, like when I fully like surrender, man, like, man, how my life just started to come together, man. You know, and not to say like everything is like red bulls and rainbows, but man, even on my bad days, man, even on like trouble day when things going a little rough, man, like, man, it's nothing in comparison to when I was out there, man, on them drugs, you know, and active addiction. And I, man, like I can just keep saying it, Tom. Like sometimes, man, I can't be like you said, man, I'm right up the street from Jupiter, you know? I like to make a joke with my little sister all the time. Say, yeah, I'm about to go golfing with Trump. I'm up the street from Venus and Serena, you know? Man, that's a long way, man. I come a long way, man, you know, and I'm so grateful for it, man. And I just remember my buddy saying, man, like, a grateful addict won't use drugs, man, you know? And I just always remember, man, all of this can easily be a thing or that can be taken from me, man. You know, if I don't continue to do the deal, man. You know, today, like I show up at work, man. I show up on time, you know, and I'm able to like give back to people, man, be sponsor guys and stuff like that. Wow. Listen, man. I just paid off just went and picked my titles up to my car. So 2015, but still. I told the guy at the DMV, because I said, man, I didn't even know where to come pick my titles up. I never owned a car, man. Stuff like that, man. You know, like, man, I own something, man. That's mine. You know? And when like my kids call and they say, hey, Dad, I need to go to the barbershop, or I need, I'm able to be there, man. And like I can wake up today, man, and I'm not dope sick, bro. You know? I don't have to stand by the phone, man. I need a line. I need before I can even function, man. This where my disease took me to, man. I couldn't even function anymore without a drug in my body, man. You know, I was addicted to heroin, man. I mean, I couldn't function at all. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't, you know, unless I put this drug in my body, man. You know, how free is that, man? I don't need a drink or a drug today, man.
Well, there's that saying, if you take care of character, God will take care of reputation. One thing I'll say about Charmaine, I don't know a single person that would murmur a single negative thing about you, man.
Yeah.
And because you're well known in the recovery community.
Yeah.
In your own way, you're quiet.
Yeah, I am.
But, bro, when you speak, it's power. I mean, Tom and I, usually we're chiming in a lot of time. We just sat silent. Like, and the listeners that listen to all our episodes know we don't sit quiet the whole time. We're asking questions, but you had us captivated. And, dude, I'm just going to come out and say this, and Tom kind of touched on it, but the fact that you didn't let your past and where you grew up define who you are today, because I'll be straight up, like, and you touched on it. Like, we see that a lot, man. Like, you don't know where I'm from. I'm from the hood. This is how I am.
Yeah.
That ain't changing. And I'll throw this out there. There's a lot of stuff that, like, you've talked to Tom and I about sidebar, like, you know, we got into a little deeper in the details of what the streets look like, which I understand why you don't share it on here. You don't need to by any means. But you were in it, dude. Really in it.
Really in the middle, like the gang life and stuff like that, man. I lost one of my best friends. We was only like 15 years old, man. It's like gun violence, you know? And I done been in a position where I put my family in danger. Like my mom's house and stuff was like shot up and stuff like that, man. And I never want to be that guy. Like I said in the beginning, like I'm never that guy to say, oh man, I'm from the hood and you don't know this just how it is. And no, it's not, man. That's not how it is. It's not how because you know why? I know, because I talked to one of my best friends. She's a police officer. She grew up in the same projects I grew up in, man. She took a different route, man. She went to school. She went to college. She's a police officer now. So no, man, that's not how it is, man. I chose that, man. You know, and choosing their life, that's what come with it, man. That what come with their life, man. You know, so I'm not a victim, man. I can't get on here and play the victim role. You know? Yeah, the cars might have been stacked up against me, man, but still, man, like I chose that, man. You know, because I know a lot of people, man, that grew up in projects and like government housing and stuff like that, man, and they successful, man. I wanted to be one of those, man, you know?
Here's the other thing, too, I kind of want to touch on, just hit me, where you were talking about who was it that let you back in the sober house after they said if you come back in 4 days?
Oh, my best friend, Lisa. One of my friends. Yeah, okay. Lisa, yes.
I just want to touch on this, man. Like, obviously, that's a testament of your character, too. People giving you another chance.
Yes.
I'm just going to say it because you're not an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, dude, people come down to get sober, man, and they're jerks. And they stay jerks with an attitude, with the victim mentality. But, like, bro, every time that we ever came into contact with you, you polite, kind, respectful, bro. And that's what, and people, yeah, man, are you an addict? Am I an addict? Tom an alcoholic? Yeah. And did we have our times where we picked up and relapsed or whatever the case is? Yeah, man. But because of your character, people are willing to give you another chance.
And I appreciate it.
You run out of chances eventually.
Yes.
But people could tell that you wanted it. You had the willingness. You showed so much willingness over the years that I've seen. And dude, I have a lot of respect for it.
Yeah.
I wish all of our clients knew how much willingness that you showed up with, dude, because you're an absolute testament and a perfect example of what's possible. For real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And like I said, man, like I grew up in the rooms of AA, man, and it was guys like you and Tom and other guys that I know in the community, like Eric and other guys that I seen, man, that was like just doing the deal, man, And like, even like with my personality, man, even when I was trying to like be this like tough guy, gang member, like that wasn't me, man, I'm just picking up on what I was young, man. I'm just picking up on what I seen. That's what I gravitated towards, But that wasn't me, man. That wasn't me at all, man. And I think a lot of times, man, like we put on what I'm starting to learn, man, because like after doing the work and after doing the steps and going through therapy and stuff like that, sometimes we'll put this mask on, man. We'll put this character on, man, with people, how we want people to see us, man. You know, really, I just wanted the attention and, you know, I wanted the people to see me, you know, and just being out there in them streets, man, I developed their drug habit, man, you know, so I really wasn't like a bad guy, man, you know, cause I remember even my ex-wife, she said, you know, you a good dad when you're not on drugs. You're a really good, you're not the person that I met. I remember her used to telling me that, man. You're not the same guy that I met, man, you know, because like I'm sitting here now and like you guys know, but man, let me put some drugs in I'm a totally different guy, man. You know, I don't show up for work. I'm not responsible. I don't pay bills. You know, everything is about the next bag, man. You know, so the book talks about a total psychic change, man. I think I very much experienced that, man. You know, it's a change of thoughts and behaviors, man. You know.
I'll say this too, dude. Working with you is awesome. I don't think we've ever.
I love working.
I don't think we've ever had a situation where it wasn't like, bro, if something needs to get done, you're just like, I got it.
Yeah, man.
That's it, bro.
It's gratitude.
You gotta quit taking
action, right?
Quit taking the keys home, but
yeah, and the credit card.
Yeah.
Well, and you can always count on Charmaine if you want a good laugh. You know, just get into a conversation with Charmaine, and
yeah.
It's been a blessing having you. How long you worked here now?
I've been, so in December, it'll be 2 years, man. It's definitely been a blessing working here with Rock, man. You know, man, I love my job. Sometimes it don't even seem like work, man, you know, and it's just like, it's amazing, man.
You're the last person we hired, too.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the cool thing about here is, you know, when people get hired here, they're here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really screw up. I think we've had maybe 2 people quit over the course of 10 years or more.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Maybe there's been a
How long Rock been around? What, 10, 12 years? 2014, so 11.
Oh,
11 years. Okay. 11 years.
So when I came here, I was just like 3 years because I come to South Florida in like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. December 2017.
Yeah. So
I come to y'all in 18.
Who are you lying on the phone to, Renee?
Renee. It was Renee. I didn't want to call her name, but it was Renee, you know. And I remember I saying, when the last time you used? Like, she doing my pre-admission. Man, I'm just like, this the lady in rehab trying to help me. And I'm like, 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, bro, you just got high last night. Like, sick, man. Like, I couldn't get honest, man.
You know what it is? I try and think about that for myself because I had the same kind of situations where, like, I would say 2 weeks ago because I really wanted it to be 2 weeks ago. Like, I wished it was 2 weeks ago. And I feel like that's why I would lie about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, kind of like wishful thinking, but.
I remember calling Ben. I'm in Tennessee. That's when I left Rock. I got demoted as the house manager, smoking cigarettes in the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sober, man, like 9 months sober. And I lose my house manager position. I get this resentment. I'm moving out. I had like probably $3,000 saved up. I had been saving up my money while I was house manager. And man, and I leave there and I go on a run, you know. And I remember like calling Ben, man. I made it from South Florida. I took the Greyhound and I made it all the way to Tennessee. And I'm getting high all the way to Tennessee. And I remember calling Ben and I said, man, I'm sitting up here in the hotel and I'm on all tight. I'm like on pills, coke. Like I got 2-3 different drugs, man. And I don't, you know, I'm going to die up here, man. And I remember Ben saying, let me call you right back. And man, you know what the guy did? He said, man, your insurance had lapsed, man. At that point, my insurance had lapsed, man. I had been in treatment like 4 or 5 times. And Ben said, I tell you what, man, we'll scholarship you, man, if you can get back out here to South Florida, man. If you can get on the airplane and like pay for your airplane fare here, we can get you back in treatment, man. And thank God I still at least had airplane money and I made it back. and the money come pick me up, man. And I remember like, so embarrassed. Had been up like 5 or 6 days, and I got like a Kroger bag, like a Publix bag with like 2 pair of socks in it, man, and like probably a pair of underwear, and my jeans and I was so embarrassed and so beat up, man, man, and I was just like, man, and I tell people today, man, like the opportunities, man, are here, man. I tell the clients and stuff, man, the opportunities are here, man. People like really care, really want to help you here. Like I didn't even have insurance. I said, man, come on.
Yeah.
You do remember that, Ben? You don't remember that?
No.
I remember that.
I don't.
Yeah, the last time I came to Rock, I was scholarship.
I'm not surprised, and the reason that I say that is it goes back to a testament of your character. Like I knew you when you were sober,
and
then you slipped. Like I thought, we're drug addicts, man. Like
Yeah.
I get that. Now it's when people slip and then they act an asshole, then I'm like, good luck, buddy. But like, that's not you, man. You're a drug addict that picked up.
Yeah, and you reached back out.
Yeah.
And that's I think why we're still in business to this day.
Yeah.
Is because of stuff like that. We're not going to let, if you're a good person, we're going to help you any way we possibly can. You or anybody else,
Right.
And look, calling it what it is, sometimes there's not much we can do.
Right.
But for whatever reason, you called at the right time. Ben saw something in you, and, here we are.
Yeah.
Gainfully employed, working with us. And
5 years sober.
Yeah.
It's funny how God works too, man, because I'll be, like I said, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I remember it like yesterday.
But I had to speak at a meeting the other night on the third step, man, and like how everything ends up lining up. It's hard for me not to sit here right here in this moment and say, that wasn't me that said, come on down. Like that was like God speaking through me, like not Ben, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a plan, because look at what you do for our clients here now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
that decision that I don't even remember landed you here, and dude, you're an absolute blessing to our clients here, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
They get a break from the rest of our crazy stuff. They're like, oh, Charmaine's on, man.
Yeah.
He's chill.
Yeah, we can breathe tonight.
Yeah.
Charmaine's here. And Charmaine, also known as Penny.
Oh, man, we was out there yesterday.
Playing basketball?
I killed buckets. You haven't been out there in a while, man.
I know.
Yeah, we played 2 games. We won in 1. We got to line something up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Charmaine's beast on the courts. Well, I appreciate it, Charmaine. Glad we can do this.
I'm glad
and
I was able to become, man.
Yeah, glad you're part of the team, and
Yes.
to many more years.
Yes.
Ben, any final thoughts?
Nah, I'm glad you brought me to tears. Some I needed that today. It makes me feel good about what we do,
and if it makes me feel good to like be here, man, and like for real, like give back a message, man, because like I said, man, like I feel like I'm obligated to do that, man. To give, because somebody was there, man, for me, man. I needed to hear. Somebody said something in the rooms, or said something in one of those meets, man, that I needed to hear, man. So, it's my duty, man, to be here for the newcomer, man.
and you know what it's like. You've experienced this now, where like, I'll just call it what it is. Some days doing what we do gets really frustrating because you see people not do the work. You're like, dude, you're gonna die, and they just don't see it. But then cases like you, for me, getting to witness it, I'm like, there's one. This is why we do this. You've experienced that now.
I have, man. Sadly to say, like, some people don't, man. Some people don't get it, man. The trick is to like making it back into the rooms, man, alive, man, and not dying out there, man. And thank God I didn't, man. Thank God I made it back, man, and got my mind right, man, and didn't die out there, man. Because that was what was left, man. I did the institutions, been in jail, man. The only thing left was death, man. And I was definitely at that at that jumping point that they talk about in the book, man. You know, like I couldn't see myself continuing to go on the way I was, but I didn't know how to like stop using, man. And the book describes it, and man, I reached the jumping point, man. You know,
Ben says it. The only thing I did right was just didn't die.
nice.
Yep.
I was just thinking about that. It's been a long time since I've said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the biggest trick to it, man. You know,
Just don't die.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. Ben, no final thoughts. Charmaine, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Land the
right.
plane.
Yes.
All right, that is it for this episode of Real Recovery Talk. Thank you for tuning in. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com, and ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.